everyone, and welcome back to the Football Insider Gaming channel. Today we are going to count down 10 of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League according to Football Manager 2026. We're going to start from number 10 and count all the way down to number 1. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like. Please also subscribe to the channel and also let me know if you agree or disagree with this list, because there are a few on here that I think are questionable to say the least. So we'll start at number 10, and that is Kepa at Arsenal. Their backup goalkeeper ranks in better than at least half of the Premier League starters, and that was a little bit of a surprise to me. Of course, he was at Bournemouth recently and did pretty well there, and he was, of course, at Chelsea as well in the past and had a middling time there. But Football Manager still ranks him very highly as a goalkeeper, and he gets into the top 10 of this list, and he is in 10th position. Next up is another goalkeeper who played for Arsenal, though is not there anymore, and that is Bernd Leno at Fulham. He is number 9, and I think that this is probably a fair rating for him. He is one of the better goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think that his time at Fulham, he's kind of found that stability and that consistency that maybe we didn't see when he was at Arsenal. And to me, it's kind of no surprise to see him this high up on this list and to see him so highly rated. And I think in real life, you probably would put him in the top half of Premier League starters. So Leno gets in at number 9. At number 8 is Robert Sanchez at Chelsea. And I think this is maybe one of the more controversial ones, because I think a lot of people think Chelsea need to upgrade in the goalkeeping position. And to say that Sanchez is in that top echelon of goalkeepers in the Premier League, I'm not sure most football fans would agree with that sentiment. I think that Sanchez is a player that is wildly inconsistent, can pull off some amazing saves, but also can have some serious lapses of concentration. So Sanchez in at 8, I don't necessarily agree with that, but he is a starting goalkeeper for one of the best 5 teams in the country, a Club World Cup winner as well. So I suppose he does have a bit of a pedigree behind him. Next up is in number 7, Vicario at Tottenham. And again, this is a player that I think divides opinion. He had a very good run at Tottenham when he first signed, and he was a big part of that team. But over the course of the last, this season in particular, I think he's come on for a lot of stick from Tottenham fans. And I think his kind of stand as being one of the best goalkeepers in the league is probably under threat right now, but Football Manager still rating him pretty highly. He's putting him 7th on the list, and that's really putting him in the top end of goalkeepers in the Premier League according to them. I don't know if they were making the game for next year, whether or not he'd get so high on the list. Next, in 6th place, is Everton's Jordan Pickford, England's number 1 goalkeeper. And I think this is probably a fair rating for him. Pickford is an enigma of a goalkeeper. He is so emotional. I don't think there is probably a player that plays with as much emotion in the Premier League as him. He's very up and down. He can have these big moments where he makes big saves, and we've seen that with England. He's been a hero at times for them, but then there's other games where he has almost like a mental breakdown and can really struggle and get in his own head. So Pickford definitely is one of the more eccentric keepers in the Premier League, but probably is in that top group of elite level goalkeepers in the league. So 6th place for him. In 5th place is Aston Villa's Emi Martinez. And, I think maybe a year ago he could probably have a claim to be the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. And certainly some of the saves that he's made while at Aston Villa have been incredible. Of course, he's won the World Cup as well. There was rumours that he was going to leave this past summer, potentially to join Manchester United, and that didn't happen. So he's still at Aston Villa now, and, this is coming off the back of them playing Newcastle when I record this video, and he made 2 of the best saves I've seen all season, one on Lewis Miley and one off Sandro Tonali, which, helped Villa get the win there. And he is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League, and he gets into the top 5 according to Football Manager. Now, we have in 4th place, and I think this one could be controversial, David Raya at Arsenal. He doesn't break into sort of maybe the top 2, which I thought he probably deserves. Raya has been unbelievable, since he came into the Premier League with Brentford. He's then kicked on to another level when he's been at Arsenal, can pull off some unbelievable saves, and can, rescue goals. Sometimes the ball, it looks like for, all of the world it's going to go in, and he can sometimes pull off these amazing saves. And I think Raya possibly has a claim of pushing into that upper echelon of being the best goalkeepers in the world. Football Manager rates him at number 4. which maybe if they were doing the game again next year, he'd probably get even higher. Now, in number 3, and I think this one is probably the most controversial on the list, because it's not even a starting goalkeeper, but Georgi Mamashvili, I hope I've said that correctly, at Liverpool. He's their backup goalkeeper. He's 24 years old and he's a Georgian. And of course, he's the backup to Alisson, who we've not actually mentioned on this list, so we know that he's in the top 2. And I was just surprised to see him so high, not because he's necessarily a bad goalkeeper, but just because he hasn't been a regular starter for Liverpool. And to rank him ahead of David Raya and a few of the other keepers on this list feels a little bit crazy. But yeah, there we are. He is number 3. And then number 2, the game has Donnarumma. PSG, he's been amazing there, won the Champions League, and then he's moved to Man City this past summer. He's maybe more of an old school goalkeeper, not as good with his feet as maybe what you'd expect from Manchester City, but since he's come in at the Premier League, he has been one of the best goalkeepers. He's pulled off some amazing saves, and I think he's been an unbelievable bit of business for Manchester City. So he's in at number 2. And at number 1 is Alisson at Liverpool, and he has at times had wobbles. He's had spells where he's been really poor, but overall, the consistency that he's shown since signing for Liverpool, I think probably gives him this position as the best goalkeeper according to Football Manager, and I think that's probably fair, because while, yeah, there have been occasions where he's maybe looked not at his best, the overall body of work for him at Liverpool has been incredible, and I think for big games, he's generally been a stellar player for Liverpool. So there we go, that is the top 10 goalkeepers in the Premier League according to Football Manager. Let me know if you agree, disagree with this list. I'd be intrigued to know what you think. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like as well, and please also subscribe to the channel. That really helps, and we'll catch you again for another video.